there's only like one view, and that one view is from me. It's like,
right.
like why even make the video, right?
Yeah.
So, but what's the question? The next one.
So I know myself and a lot of my friends, we're always concerned about, sometimes we're out late in our neighborhood. It's not the worst. We're not going to get shot, most likely, but there are a lot of robberies, and like I told you, my friend, he got his phone stolen. He was with like four other dudes, but four other dudes rolled up on him, and they were bigger, stronger, and scarier, I guess. He got his phone taken. So, a lot of robberies in our area, and we're always concerned. And a lot of us, we carry knives and stuff, just in case. But there's something I feel like that can almost be, I don't know, can almost be detrimental, like carrying a knife. So what do you think is like the best personal self-defense weapon for teenagers or women or whatever to carry in not a super high risk area, but that would keep you safe and kind of like level the threat with an opponent who's bigger than you, or like more of them? What's a good thing for teenagers or women or whatever?
Women, well, first teenagers. When you carry a knife with the intention of using it for self-defense, that's taking it to a very risky level.
Yeah.
Because your friend's phone got stolen, but the phone might be $500, or the value of it might be $200 or less, and to die over something like that is just obviously it's not worth it. And there's another story, I think it happened in Chicago, and the people were out of town, and then somebody was taking pictures in the wintertime, and he dropped the phone into the lake, and then it was ice. So he went in after it, and then he fell through the ice, and he ended up dying over his phone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even for me, like right now, my car, the wheel just got cracked, and they quoted me like $1,000 to replace it, and then like $250 just to fix it. But things like that happen. So, and you can't control it. So it's like, say you go out of you go outside and then your car gets vandalized, $500 of damage, and then you don't know who did it, and you're upset, but then you don't know who to take the anger out on. Mm-hmm. So, or your phone, instead of your friend getting robbed, he left his phone somewhere, and then now he can't find it. It's gone. So he lost the phone still, but now he can't do anything about it because he didn't know. There's nobody to blame it on. So when somebody's trying to rob you, it's, if you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, then you could see it as like, you know what, just take the phone, because you're not going to control everything all the time. Just let it go. And that's where the spiritual practice comes in the martial arts. Is very important, because clearly it's not worth to die over a phone, right? But if you're a woman and you're getting raped, that could be completely different.
Right.
Because there's women out there, there's a lot of women, they'd rather die than to survive a rape, like literally. So then for them to carry a knife, it makes sense. But you still need to learn how to use it. Just because you carry a knife don't mean shit. Like you gotta know how to use it, and that takes a lot of training. So if you're not willing to put in the time to train how to use a knife, then I say don't even bother carrying it. Because you're just gonna put yourself in a worse situation than where you started off with.
Right, and that's what I was kind of thinking. Like, this might not even be helpful. Like you carrying a blade.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look from a spiritual standpoint, and you got to really, in your mind, plan out when you would actually use it and when you wouldn't.
Right.
So if you got a knife, as a man, I'd say to bring it out if the other person has a knife. Then you bring your knife out. It's an equal fight.
Right.
But if they don't introduce a weapon, and then you all of a sudden you brought out the knife, especially if it's a one-on-one situation, I wouldn't advise that. But if it's three and they have no weapon, and then you have your knife, you might be able to bring it out. But then you gotta be willing to go through with it.
Right.
Are you willing to kill them, stab them, and then basically have to defend yourself in court to be justified in killing somebody? You gotta think these things through. Are you willing to take somebody's life? And if you say, you know what, I think I would, then you could carry it. But as a teenager, that's just too much to think about. It's just more simple to just be like, you know what, let me just carry no weapons and just deal with it. If I'm really that concerned, then I gotta train harder in my unarmed combative abilities to survive as a teenager.
Right.
It's just too much to think about. You know, that's why teenagers don't have guns. You don't have to. You know, that's even out of the equation because you don't have to worry about it because the law won't even allow you to carry it. But if you want to as a teenager, you could break the law and carry the gun, but it's just too much.
Right.
You know, so if you want to do it lawfully, and you want to do it just simply, then that's where martial arts comes in. Let's just have you become the most lethal you possibly can be without any weapons at all. Then it requires a bunch of training. Now, if you do carry the knife, then you still need a lot of training. Like it's just basically sparring with the knife, and you know, to defend yourself against a person that doesn't have a knife and you got a knife, it's relatively pretty easy if you know what you're doing. But I would say if you carry a knife, have it an intention of using it for like practical purposes of opening boxes is not a weapon, but it's an extreme circumstance to come out as a weapon when it's extreme.
Right.
You know, so you are being truly threatened by three guys, and you do feel in danger of your life, and you draw the knife to try to scare them to back off. If they don't back off, then you just have to do what you need to do. You might slice, you don't have to kill the person, you might slice a person up, you slice his finger off.
Right.
And then that could be enough to let the other two know that what's going to come to them too, and then they back off. So then he has a missing finger, and he's still living, but they shouldn't have tried to attack you. That's their fault. So it's something that you need to mentally prepare for, and you got to think those things through, you know.
Yeah.
And you got to know what you're doing. Just because you got a knife don't mean. Because then another thing, you bring out the knife, they bring out a gun. Shit, you gonna bring the knife out? I'm bringing a gun out. Shoot and kill you. Because that's the real thing out there. People got guns. The law even allows people to have guns concealed, and they don't even allow you to have knives as far as lawfully.
Right.
Like you can have a knife, but it's not supposed to be for self-defense. So you're not supposed to. And another thing, just remember not to tell the police that you have a knife for self-defense.
Right.
The knife is always for utility. It's not a weapon. So that's an important thing to remember as well. I mean, it's good to have the knife. Well, I like the knife because it's so easy to carry. It's concealable, and you know, it's practical.
Yeah.
You know, like even that movie Crash. You know, they used a knife. Police officer used a knife to cut that woman's seatbelt.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you need knives for different things. You can't live in a world without knives. You know, they need knives to cook and everything. So, knives is a practical utility tool, but it can be used for self-defense, and it's probably my favorite weapon next to the gun. And but you know, as a teenager, there's just a lot to think about, and you need to have experience and a spiritual and meditative standpoint to be able to position yourself and to decide whether or not you're ready to take somebody's life.
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
So that's the knife. But as far as other weapons are concerned,
what about like a pepper spray? What are your thoughts on that as like a defense, like a situation equalizer? You know, like.
I mean, the police have special pepper spray, or they might call it mace. There's like a number in the back where it tells you how strong it is, and the police have a special pepper spray that's extra strong that regular citizens don't have access to.
Oh, okay.
So that stuff works because I actually got sprayed with it. Everybody had to get sprayed with it, and that shit does work, right?
Yeah.
But it comes out like in a squirt, but it has to go to the eyes. But they could still shield themselves. So it's like you squirting something, and then they could still get it out of, you know.
Right.
You have to get them in the eyes. If you don't get them in the eyes, it's not going to work. So you get them on their arm, the chest, and the clothes. It's not going to do anything. So you got to be very accurate with it. It really works, but the thing is, can you get access to that pepper spray that does work? And the stuff that you buy at the store, do you know it works? Right. You need to test it out on yourself or on somebody else. You know? Because why are you going to carry around something that doesn't work?
Right.
So whatever pepper spray that you're going to carry around, make sure it works. Test it out.
Okay.
You got to test it out on yourself or test it out on somebody else. But the stuff that they're selling at the store might not be effective.
Right.
You know? And then you should also practice with it. Maybe go outside and spar with it. So have the person be the threat, And then where are you gonna have the pepper spray? Are you gonna have it in your pocket? Are you gonna have it ready in your hand? Okay, go. And then could you spray him in time? Okay, before he punched you, before he grabbed you, did you even get him? Okay, now that you did get him, did it even affect him? You gotta apply that into the sparring too,
Right.
and train with it. Not just like, well, I'm just gonna carry it, and then you might not even miss. You might miss them. And another thing, these things have expirations. So after the expiration, will they even work? You know, all these things come into play. And if one puts it in a purse, like how fast is she gonna be able to grab it?
Right, right.
You know, so that is another thing too. You know, I mean, it's hard to get away from it, but you need to actually have martial arts skills that could just immediately work.
Right.
You know, but people try to go around it and be like, well, what if I carry this? What if I carry that? Other than the gun, I don't really see, like, you need a lot of training to get good at a knife. You know, need a lot of training to have pepper spray, to have a baton. Just because somebody's carrying a baton don't mean shit. They gotta know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Baton is a good weapon, but that's illegal. I don't know if people are willing to break the law.
Yeah.
But the baton is concealable. It's a good weapon. Nunchucks is just too hard to carry, and it's hard to use. You know, it's very hard to use. And close quarters, how are you gonna use a nunchuck, right?
Right, right.
So you got baton. Brass knuckles are excellent, but are you willing to break the law, right? But then they got those other things, you know, like a keychain that has something sticking out in it, you know.
Yeah.
But whatever you decide to carry, you just have to know how to use it, and don't be afraid to use it. You gotta practice with it. It still boils down to practice.
Right.
And if you practice, then you don't even really need that stuff. Like, I don't really need brass knuckles. I don't need a baton. I don't really even need a knife.
Right.
You know? Like, I feel like I can handle mostly any situation. But I'll use the gun if necessary. But if I didn't have a gun, then the knife would be my main thing.
Okay.
The baton is relatively pretty heavy still, and the baton, the problem is you can't say that it's a tool. If the police finds you with it,
right,
it's obviously a weapon. So you're gonna get more trouble for the baton than you will with a knife. They could arrest you and say that you have unlawful use of weapon.
Wow.
Same thing with the brass knuckle. And the brass knuckle, shit, my knuckles are like brass knuckles, so I don't need to carry brass knuckles.
Right,
It's
right.
stupid. Like, get in trouble over brass, I don't need that. But, you know, if I wanted to, I mean, that's easy to carry. Brass knuckles, I think, would be a great weapon. If it wasn't illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to carry. I mean, you can maybe get away with wearing something that they say, this is my jewelry, you know?
Right.
You know, but, like, brass knuckles are easy to carry. But other than that, I mean, it's just baton, brass knuckles, knife, gun. Nunchuck is just, it's kind of like the baton is pretty much like the nunchuck.
Right.
So, I mean, what else could you even think of?
Stun gun.
You were not allowed to have that.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't even have that stuff. I mean, if you could find one, but then you gotta risk the law.
Right, right.
And then what's the point? Like, the guns are legal, the stun gun is not. So why just carry the gun? If you're gonna carry a stun gun, then what's preventing you from getting the gun, right? Right? It doesn't make sense. You know, because that's another thing in this stupid. Like, even in the state of California, they ban like all nunchucks, even nunchucks for martial artists. You can't even ship nunchucks to Cali. They got these strict laws on nunchucks, but then guns are allowed.
Right.
Like, you know, isn't it silly?
Yeah.
But it's just because there's such a strong group of people fighting for gun rights. That's why it's like that. There's no group that's fighting for nunchuck rights.
Right.
So as soon as they ban the nunchucks, nobody even cares. They just leave it banned. So that's what happens. Like, all these weapons are banned. Throwing stars. Okay, throwing stars are banned, but guns aren't. Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't make sense, but
Right.
it's stupid. You know, but that's how the law is. So you just gotta learn the law and be like, okay, I can have a gun. All right, then shoot. That's my weapon.
Right, right.
Right? Gun and a knife, because the knife is utility.
Mm.
But unless you go to like Home Depot and you start buying like carpentry tools and carry that, like you carry a hammer with you everywhere.
Right.
You know, you have a baseball bat in the trunk,
Yeah.
or even a cane. A cane is a good weapon. It's a great weapon. You can carry a cane, or even maybe an umbrella.
Yeah.
You know, you could use that as a weapon. Like, it's just sometimes you gotta be creative with the weapons. Like just having steel-toe boots,
Right.
or just some like solid shoes.
Yeah.
Using that as a weapon. But yeah, I mean, even just like the cutting tools that they use, like the razor blades those, that they use, the carpentry.
Yeah.
Like just think about like the stuff that you can find at Home Depot. Like those are not weapons; those are tools. So anything that you can find at Home Depot and you can carry that with you, you could use that. You know.
Right.
Like then you don't need to worry about the police, and then you have some added protection against whatever threat that you might have. Like even maybe, shit, I just came up with it right now. Carry a freaking baseball with you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Put it in your pocket, and then you can just throw a chuck. Like get really good at chucking right at his nose, and then boom, like
Yeah.
you got one good hit in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or just have a rock.
Right.
You know, like just have a rock with you, and you could use that rock to smash him with it, or you could throw it at them. At least you got something.
Right.
You know, to give you, an added advantage.
So basically, take a trip to the store and be creative.
Yeah, you can. Or sometimes there's these jewelry rings that are like super strong,
Yeah.
and you could just wear the jewelry and use that as like a little added protection.
I like that baseball idea. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
It's so simple, you know. It's like.
Yeah, have a baseball, just chuck it at them.
And that'll be scary. I would like run away if I saw someone with a baseball trying to throw it at me.
Yeah, I mean,
like, whoa.
I've thought about the cane stuff. I mean, I even bought a cane to train with it. But it's interesting. I used to train this guy that had some. He was born he didn't have full control of his legs, so he had a cane with him everywhere he went, and he'd be at the bus stop with the cane, and then the police would actually stop him and be like, "What you have that cane for?" You know what I'm saying? Like the police actually would investigate why he has that cane. So they even view that, like they can even give you problems with that. Why you got a cane? There ain't nothing wrong with your legs, So they can even use that. But the other thing that you gotta be very careful of is, especially as a teenager, because you might not realize how serious it is the police can shoot and kill you.
Yeah.
For anything you have. So just like that person got killed with the BB gun. I think his name was Rice or something, Tamir Rice or something.
Yeah.
Where he's just sitting there at the park with a BB gun. The police just pulled up and shot and killed him. Somebody called the police saying, "Oh, this kid's at the park. He has a gun, but I think it might be a BB gun." Next thing you know, he's dead. Because you see the video, the police just showed up, no questions asked. They shot and killed him.
Right.
So, I mean, this is serious stuff. I mean, because I got these guns, these airsoft guns, they look really real. If one of my kids takes that to school, he could be dead.
Right.
It's because they think it's a real gun and they shoot and kill him. So that's why the Nerf guns are just like bright colors. Because if they make it look real, there could be a lot of kids dead because of that. Police take that stuff like serious. Like they don't have no problem killing a 5-year-old holding a gun at a park. Like that stings. Even a knife. If you hold a knife, police will come and shoot and kill you. They don't hesitate.
Right.
Even I read an article in Chicago, a freaking homeless person holding a freaking spoon. Drop the spoon, boom, 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 boom. Like he's just like mentally not there. They shoot and kill him because he's holding a spoon.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem with the weapons. The police can shoot and kill you. So that's the thing. You got to think about that. And there's too many things for a teenager to think about.
Right.
Because he's concerned about, this person's trying to hurt me. But the police, you got to worry about them. Because, whatever you have, they perceive it as a threat. They'll shoot and kill you. And the sad thing is a lot of times they get away with it. They don't go to jail.
Right.
So as a martial artist, you got to worry about not just the offender, but you also got to worry about the police.
Right.
So there's more things to worry about.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.